On today's For the Record, the Prince, the Duchess, and the Hammer raising awareness in November. And name that hospital. That's where we begin this evening. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the renaming of Henderson General, the Juravinski Hospital and Cancer Centre. And with that, to take a closer look, we're joined by Ward 8 Councillor Terry Whitehead and Murray Martin, President and CEO of Hamilton Health Sciences. Councillor, I'm going to start with you. In a Spectator editorial, it was Wednesday of last, you laid blame for this war of words squarely on Hamilton Health Sciences. Why?
Well, let's be clear. When we look at the access to better care, there was lots of hoopla in the context of the lack of consultation. In fact, the Ombudsman is now investigating both the LHINs, and my understanding most of the questions have been on the issues around the Hamilton Health Sciences. So when we look at this whole issue about the naming of the Henderson Hospital, the issue is clearly why, if there was an issue in the context of funding, you need to look at the history. The hospital was paid for on the backs of the property taxpayers of this community, the land and the building. And it was run by the Hamilton Civics Board. At a certain point in time, the provincial government brought in the Hospital Act, and a lot of that responsibility was transferred to the Hamilton Health Sciences Board, or the new corporation. No consultation was taken place with the Hamilton Mountain Heritage Society, and no consultation took place with the mountain councillors or the public. And if there was an issue, I believe that was incumbent upon the board to seek out advice, consult with the community, identify the problem, identify that they need to raise 10% of the dollars, and that the only way they felt they could do that is by selling the naming rights to the hospital.
Okay, Murray, how do you respond?
Well, it is recognized that hospital capital projects are not just funded by the province. There is an expectation of a local community share. In our community, we actually have had to raise over $100 million to support our capital projects. In some other communities, municipalities have contributed towards hospital capital projects, but unfortunately in our community that wasn't possible from the city of Hamilton. So we took on the challenge of raising, as I said, over $100 million. It is a long-standing tradition that for major philanthropy, that there is recognition given to major donors. In the case of the Henderson Hospital, it is our cancer hospital for this region. It certainly serves as the community hospital for the mountain, but it is provides a lot of programs, mainly cancer, but also things like joint replacements for a very large region. So it is a resource of not only our whole city, but our entire region.
Would you say you served good notice on the name change, or is it fair to say you caught a lot of people off guard?
Well, when we announced this, as you know, 3 years ago, our board did engage in consultation. I myself met with Mayor Deaney at the time, talked to him about it. He offered to do some checking around, and we talked to our local MPPs as well. Both the MPPs and the mayor got back to me saying they were receiving a very favorable reaction to it.
Okay, Councillor Whitehead, you were a councillor 3 years ago. Did Mayor Deaney and the MPs and the MPPs not get to you on this one? Well, 3 years ago?
Well, two things. I think the responsibility is incumbent on the hospital board, not the mayor, in the context of that consultation. And if that is Hamilton Health Sciences' approach to comprehensive consultation, then I think that leaves something to be desired, and I think that's what we need to look at in the future decision making. The reality is that, in fact, a lot more people than the mayor and the MPs, when the ward councillors have no idea that this is taking place, when the general public have no idea this is taking place, and even more importantly, when that Mountain Heritage Society has no idea this is taking place, then how much consultation really took place?
Councillor, you're saying that there is a possibility, I mean, you're looking at both names, if I'm not mistaken, Henderson General at Juravinski Hospital and Cancer Centre, if I'm bang on, I'm not sure, but something to that end, am I right?
Absolutely.
And Murray Martin, you're the CEO. How do you feel about that, or you're steadfast on this change?
We very much, as we've publicly talked about, do want to honor the legacy of Nora Frances Henderson, and we intend to do that. We have the major inpatient wing of the hospital is going to bear her name. Recognize we are building a brand new hospital on the mountain with the support of the province. We have a beautiful new hospital being built, and there is a lot of merit in actual fact integrating the names to reflect the role that hospital is going to play. 2/3 of the activity and the financial resources of that site will go towards cancer care, and we want to create one of the world's leading cancer centers. And with the support of this community, people like the Juravinskis, we're going to be able to do that.
Okay, now Juravinski, as you noted, the philanthropists, both of them, 15 million or 20 million they donated to you, to the HHS.
Well, in total, they've donated 28 million to us.
Okay.
Specific gifts to the Henderson site were 15 million for the Henderson, 5 million towards the cancer center.
And once this issue is resolved, Murray, the name is in place. Have steps been taken so we don't go through this again in 50 years?
Well, in terms of 50 years from now, if there's the need to rebuild or to build a brand new hospital again, perhaps it would be revisited. One thing I want to highlight, it is not just about the money as well. It's about the incredible spirit that the Juravinskis bring to this community. When I talk to Charles in particular, he's still working 14 hours a day. Do you know what he's working on? To make more money to donate to make better health care for this
sure.
community.
And Councillor, I know you agree with Murray on that one. The Juravinskis are extra special.
This is not about the Juravinski, but so is Nora Frances Henderson. When you look at a woman that dedicated her life for public service, her whole life. She died at around 54 years old. She died penniless. She gave money, took money out of her pocket to help others that had less than herself. She blazed the trail for women in politics, in leadership roles across this country. She's nationally recognized.
Yeah, you say in your editorial too, quote, as elected officials, we have received a number of calls and emails, end quote, and this is regarding people, quote unquote, very upset about the name change. Just how many emails and calls have you received?
Thousands. In fact, we're going to reflect that in the petitions that we'll be bringing forward to the Hamilton Health Sciences. The reality is there are a lot of people emotionally upset about this decision and the lack of consultation before the decision was made.
How about you, Mr. Martin? You getting a lot of calls?
I have had a number of emails of support. They're not in the thousands, but we certainly have had indications of strong support for the name change and the reason behind the name change.
And could I just add, Jason?
Go ahead.
We've been getting phone calls from a lot of donors, people that have donated consistently to the Hamilton Health Sciences, and even those that have actually been engaged in raising over $600,000 for Hamilton Health Sciences that are appalled at the process and how this decision was made. At this very time that we're trying to get more women into politics and leadership, and so few buildings are named after women, we are relegating her to the back bench, Nora Frances to the back benches, and that's what people are appalled with. So this is having an impact on the potential of donors going forward. $180 million was taxpayers' money, $180 million, and yet we have no say. And I think that's what's appalling about this whole decision.
Murray, final word for you. We started with the councillor. You get to conclude things here.
Well, in terms of our focus is on delivering the absolute best health care we can to this community. We're just so fortunate to have people like the Juravinskis to lead the way, to allow us to create the resources that are going to be necessary. We do know we have really tough economic times out there. And again, we're just so grateful for the Juravinskis and others like them that have contributed to make the wonderful facilities we have.
Murray Martin, CEO, Hamilton Health Sciences, Councillor Whitehead, thank you very much for this debate on For the Record.